good evening, and welcome to the Bump, Draft, and Break podcast. I am your host, Pedro Barbosa, and with me I have my good friend, Earl Goddard. Good night, Earl.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Tonight I'm good. And kind of excited to talk about what we have to talk about. Like the title of the episode says, we're going to do the review of the first half of the field. And the way the standings were at the end, it kind of allows us to do this properly, because P10 to P6 kind of it's like almost a little group apart from P10, and then from there on up we have P4 and P5 that kind of battled for the championship, and P2 and P3, and then P1 it was just basically all decided. So it's kind of nice the way it turned out to be, for us at least, to divide this into episodes. So yeah, let's start at the bottom. And unfortunately for many British fans, and let's say fans all over the world, we go back to 2020 and before that, and it's Williams again with 8 points to the team. And I think it's the only team to get points with 3 drivers instead of 2 drivers. I mean, Williams came out with a kind of a nice design car. It was a little bit different. They kind of came out with a not completely zero size side pods like the Mercedes, but it was very tight as well, almost like the Mercedes, and with a air exhaust thing just behind the side pod that kind of stay there until the end of the season. But yeah, it was not good from the start.
No, they're in that sort of perpetual world of they need money to spend to develop the car, which all the teams need money to produce a good car, and to then get results to finish higher up the grid to get money to produce a car. And they're just stuck in this little loop at the bottom of nothing they try is ever enough to jump. They've not done like a Haas and gone, right, we're going to do nothing this year, we're going to finish last, but next year we're going to... And Haas came and delivered. They've never been able to do that full commitment to something new. So it's a shame. But like you say, they came out with another slippery, high-speed car. But that's more to the fact of they've not developed enough downforce into the car, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Because they say it's no different to when McLaren were having a very tough time a few years ago, and you don't like to see big names of the sport struggling like that. But I think it's a question of how... I know Williams has been sold and the name is there for the sake of it, but how long it will be there, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know as well. It's Darlington, the company that basically the fund that bought Williams, and they kind of made a promise to continue with the name. But one of the other questions is how much time will they stick with the team in their name? It's not a motorsports team.
There's only so long you can flog a dead horse. At the end of the day, these guys come into the sport to make money.
Yeah.
Because they look at it as a business. They don't look at it as a sport. They don't look at it as a game. They're here to make billions because they see everyone else making billions.
Yeah, and let's be honest, an F1 team at least in the past few years, gain a lot of they are worth a lot of money, especially with the cost cap being in place. It's the more appetizing a deal seems, the more they will get, and we're stuck at this point that the FIA won't allow basically anyone to register a new team in F1, so it's worth money. I don't know if it's worth more, how much more it's worth than they bought it from, but it must be worth a little bit more money.
Yeah, and there's only going to be so long that they're going to invest money and potentially lose money before they go, yeah, see you later. And then they'll sell it to Andretti or someone someone will come in and buy it, because they're, for the first time in a long time, there's people queuing up to get into F1.
Yeah.
Going back to the old days of the 90s of pre-qualifying and people turning up to attempt it, now people who sat there with big checkbooks go in, okay, Sauber, I'll buy your team. Okay, whoever, I'll buy your team. As a way of getting in.
Okay, AlphaTauri, I'll buy your team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about the drivers? I mean, I've been kind of impressed with one of them because of how he's...
Latifi's been good.
Yeah, but I was talking about Albon because he was kind of able to... He kind of picked up where George left the team. The car is not as competitive as last year. They kind of went back a bit, and it's not just that Haas now is good, but yeah, it kind of stayed there or a little bit back a little bit more, but he was kind of able to pick up where George left it, and had some very good qualifying sessions and scored points in only the third race with that amazing strategy. So yeah, I've been impressed. How about you?
Yeah, Albon's... Yeah, he's been very good. He is a good driver. I was listening to another podcast the other day where they were saying, to do with the whole De Vries and where is he going to end up, no one ever mentioned Albon for the AlphaTauri seat, bearing in mind he is still a Red Bull driver. So you sort of think, obviously there's something going on behind the scenes there. I know he signed his contract earlier, so whether he's already locked into Williams and couldn't get out, but no, he's done a fantastic job. He's done what he has to do, which is out-qualify Latifi and out-race him. That's his job. And he's put some good performance. He's been solid. Yeah. I think it's difficult to compare him against George, because I think George is maybe a bit more special.
No,
of a talent.
I agree with that. I was just saying about the job that he was doing at that team, that particular team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's been consistent. He's not destroyed the car of his own fault that I know of many times. And for a struggling team like that, the last thing you want is like a Schumacher who's putting it, a Latifi or a Schumacher putting it in the wall. I mean, Latifi crashed, but he doesn't destroy cars that often, does he?
No, he almost gets that controlled spin that you're going to hit the wall, basically. Yeah,
and he bumps a wing here or does a little bit of suspension. He's not done old Mick and stick it in the barriers and rip four corners off and have nothing left of it sort of shunts.
Yeah.
So I think Albon's been good. I think Latifi, as much as we all give him grief and we all say he's rubbish, he's end of the day, he's in F1, he's driving, he's He's paying to be there. We all know this. I think, isn't he supposed to be going to IndyCar? I was aware that I thought he had a Ganassi seat.
I don't know. I've heard nothing about that. But the only thing that I've heard was an interview that he was unlike the people were saying that he was going to basically retire from motorsports, but he left open a seat at the WEC or IndyCar. He was just very upfront about that. But I haven't heard about the Ganassi seat.
Oh, I'm sure I saw a thing saying that he had a seat at Ganassi.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting because it will show the divide between F1 and IndyCar. If he does a Grosjean and goes to IndyCar and is running top 10, you then really have to question, I'll say it, the super license points thing. Maybe they've got a valid point. Because if Latifi can't struggle to get on the back of an F1 grid, but can go run top 10 in IndyCar. But we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, Grosjean has been good in IndyCar, but it's not like he went there and won a championship, you know?
Right.
There's a learning curve there.
He was mediocre. I say he was mediocre middle grid here.
Yeah.
In F1, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see where Latifi ends up.
Yeah, we might not been giving him the credit that he deserves. In reality, we don't know what's happening inside the team. We don't know what's happening with the car. If it might just be.
I think the majority of it is he's not good enough to be in that seat, but he's clearly got the wallet that gets him in that seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think you could put him in. I don't even recall his results in GP2 or F2 if he even did F2.
I think it did F2 and was top 10 kind of driver.
Yeah,
I think
he's not doing a Djokovic, he's not doing a Lando,
No.
He's not a consistent podium person. So he's clearly in there. Williams need money, and he's got a checkbook.
Yeah.
So fair play to him. He's driven F1. We haven't. End of the day, so fair play to him.
Yeah. And you have, as much as we don't like the license points system, you cannot be rubbish and
there's a merit to it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a merit to it. The only question that we have with it is that we think that in other avenues you should get more points. It's not like you shouldn't have even licenses. I mean, that's not what we are saying. So yeah, and the third driver that drove for them and got points from them was next year's AlphaTauri driver Nick De Vries. He came, he drove, he out-qualified Latifi, he got 2 points, and he left.
Yeah, he took full advantage of the opportunity he was given. Let's be honest, Monza isn't the most technically challenging of circuits. It's the biggest thing with Monza is you tend to outbrake yourself trying to go for a lap time because you think I can go that little bit later. But because of such high speeds, that's where you end up. So as long as you do the fundamentals right at Monza, and we know the Williams was quick there, it does it for you. So yes, he was lucky that he managed to stick it up in the points and stay there through the race. That showed a bit of mental, a bit of sensibleness about him to not try and go for one extra position. He's just like, right, let's just finish the race. And yeah, I think you could have put any of those GP2 people or the F2 guys, third drivers in the car in that, and they should have been able to do what he did. It's not like Monaco.
Yeah, but in the end, Latifi had the same car and the same opportunity and more experience in the car, and he didn't get any points there. So,
yeah, but as we've just established, Latifi is a top 10-ish F2 driver. De Vries is Formula E World Champion, F2 champion.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, he's a different breed, a different level.
Yeah.
So, again, we're not hating on Latifi, we're just going on facts.
Yeah. I don't think anyone as nice of a guy he is, I don't think anyone rates him as being in the same breed as De Vries and Albon and Norris and Russell. I don't think anyone even is able to start an argument about that. But yeah, disappointing season for Williams. Again, let's see next year. I'm not too sure if it's going to be much better. With other teams, we have a few, let's say, a few hints that it might go forward. But with Williams, I haven't heard any good things, let's say, that make us...
Yeah, well... The only thing that will be the one is, obviously, Albon will do what Albon's doing. And it's going to be what Sargent does, whether... Is he going to fill Latifi's shoes and just drive around at the back? Or is he going to be closer to Albon and actually... Where Albon's getting into the top 15, he's up his shaft top 16 and helping that way. So when they can score points, they're double point scoring. But we will see. Again, rookie. Yeah. We've seen rookies come in and be flying and sensible like old pros, and we've seen them come in and hit the barriers a lot.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I haven't heard much about.
I shan't be betting on them.
No. So yeah, that's P10. Williams, Mercedes with 8 points. Next one up the road. It's for me the most disappointing team of the whole grid. From what I think they can do and what they've done in the past. Which is AlphaTauri in P9 with 35 points. Yeah, it's not been a good season for them.
They just didn't seem to get it right. I rate Gasly very highly, and I expected him to do a lot better than he's done this season. Yuki has moments.
It's that driver that has speed, but like
yeah, and then else. he has stupid moments.
Like in Canada.
And at the moment, he's having more stupid moments than he is brilliant moments.
Yeah.
I think because it was in the first race, Gasly was up in top 10. And then he hit his front wing, and that ended his race there. And I was like, okay. I think he was even in my fantasy team when he was one of my drivers, because I thought he's that consistent top 10 boy that will just be there or thereabouts on the fringes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and in the first race, the driver that brought the points to AlphaTauri was Yuki. So yeah, you're right. It was what happened, basically. Yeah, and then they were almost consistently on the points until Baku. And Baku was a very good result for them. Double points, I think. It was 10 points. But then it wasn't double. It was Gasly putting in P5. But then they spent a crazy amount of races without getting any points, and from then on till the end of the year, it was like a point here and there, and
it just slowly slid away from them. And whether that's something going on internally in the team, not spending budget, run out of budget, and just. But yeah, they were just. Like you say, they almost disappeared.
Yeah,
because you weren't in races going, "What's Gasly doing?" Because I rate him, so I look for him during a race, and it's like, "Oh, what's he doing down there?" Oh, okay, he's not going to do anything this race. Yeah, and that happened more often than not.
The last time that Gasly had a points finish was a P10 in Singapore.
Yeah, that's no good, is it?
Yeah. And then it was Japan and the whole safety car thing. And then in the United States, they had a point, but it was Yuki. And then he was basically nowhere. He was basically nowhere from Singapore on.
Take it back. Yuki's awesome. We love Yuki.
I do like Yuki, to be honest. And he's a fast driver.
I mean, no doubt you have to be, because let's be honest, it's a Red Bull seat and there's a lot of Red Bull drivers. So he's got to be doing something right. Probably bringing a little bit of Japanese money as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's, from what I've seen and read about him, he's very quick but very lazy. Doesn't like going to the gym, doesn't like training, just can't be asked, and just isn't interested in that side of F1 and being the ultimate driver.
Yeah.
In terms of fitness and that, but yeah, I can't believe it. He's a nice kid. I feel so old.
Yeah, I'm going to make you even feel older.
Oh, is he like 12 or something?
He must be. I like. I'm googling Yuki Tsunoda, and the first thing that appears on my Google is Yuki Tsunoda height. So yeah, yeah, he's 22. He was born in 2000. Yeah,
language.
He's even younger than my little brother.
But yeah, so I think. Do I think he's got the makings to be a long-term F1 stalwart? No. I think he'll be a couple, 3 seasons and will be ousted for someone new.
Yeah, and then he will go to Japan and race Super Formula and all that stuff, and probably have a good career there, because let's be honest, in Japan the motorsport scene is very, very good, and the Super GT thing and all that stuff.
It was well known that Eddie Irvine was a millionaire before he came to F1 because of Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like him. I like that he is in Formula 1. I like that we have a Japanese driver in Formula 1 right now.
He's just a bit of a character, isn't he? So, and let's be honest, F1's got too boring recently. Okay, Max isn't really a character. No. Every now and again, he's just send it. That's Max's character. Lewis, I'm not even going to go there.
Let's go there.
It's not even going to go there. And then you go down the rest of the grid. Lando's come in with a fresher. So, I mean, Charles isn't. Charles not a character. He tones it. He is on his Twitch, but he's not. He tones it back so much. He's real character. Lando has his flashes of toning it back, but 9 times out of 10, he's just, this is me. Do something silly. Danny Rick smiles a lot.
Hey.
But the rest of them, there's no.
Carlos is nice as well.
It's nice in that, but there's no characters.
If Lando wasn't in Formula 1, I would probably like Carlos the most. I think he's a nice character. He's not a robot like some of the others, like George is. I never connected with George just because he is a company man, basically.
Yeah. He's an industry man, 100%, but he's played that game to get himself in. Let's be honest, if he had got the drive 2 years earlier, he would have played the game perfectly to put himself in the best car of a decade.
Yeah.
And against arguably the best driver of the decade. And he could have gone, haha.
Yeah.
It didn't work. He missed it by a year or two, but yeah, he's played the game to.
Yeah, perfectly.
You know, fair play to him.
Yeah.
But again, he's not a character.
No.
Not a character.
And I think the only other one that it's Magnussen is now is the suck my balls thing is just the best quote of F1 almost ever.
Even he's a bit toned down if you go back to what his dad was like, and he's just he's a typical Scandinavian, isn't he? Scandinavian, whatever you want to call that area.
Yeah. It's a bit like that.
If you think for the last few years we've had Kimmy's been the only one you can rely on to not say something when he should and say something when he shouldn't. And even he looks happy if you watch him now at any of the NASCAR race and any event he's at now, he's smiling and actually happy not being in F1.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, they're so restricted in what they can and can't do.
Yeah, but now and then there's a driver that doesn't give a beep. I don't have my
problem is those days I think are long and gone because there's too much at stake now.
Yeah.
There's no one that's really come in and said, fuck you. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And being able to back it up and keep it. You know, even Max didn't really start doing that sort of stuff until he was established.
Yeah, and even now, after that whole Brazilian thing, when they asked him questions about what happened, he just smiled. He didn't go against Red Bull's marketing thing. He just smiled and didn't say anything. I think that's
he likes 60 million.
I think that's the best we're going to get from these kind of drivers. And Yuki is the only one that really... Yeah, you're right. Yuki is the only one that really says what he thinks. He has no filter.
Oh, 100%.
No filter, and doesn't give a shit, basically. So yeah, we need that. I just wish that he has another chance next year. But if he does another season like this one, I don't think that it will be there in 2024.
No, I'm convinced that as long as they still have a connection to Red Bull, Lawson or another Red Bull driver will be in there, 100%.
Yeah, so he really has to step it up next year, and I hope he does, because we need a character like him in Formula 1. And we need a Japanese driver that's a good motorsports market.
Yeah, for F1 and their sales, it is the right. Like you say, if they could pick a driver from the nations they wanted, there would be a Japanese driver in there.
Yeah.
Ideally a Japanese team, but...
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. So yeah, the team that they were battling in terms of points in the end of the season was with Haas, that came in P8. A massive step up from last year, but that was basically because they didn't do anything to the car since 2019. just to keep up with the little regulation changes that there was in 2020 and 2021. And they came out in the season very strongly in the beginning of the season, and then right when Mick was actually starting to be good, the car went away from them because they didn't bring any. They only brought a upgrade in, it was like Austria or something like that.
Long way in.
Long way in, and it was the only one. I've heard the podcast, the Beyond the Grid podcast with Gunther Steiner, and he said that they've been working on the new car basically since July or something like that. So
that's going to be their MO from now, isn't it? They have to go, let's work on the car early and start early and get our points, and essentially try and hang on and hope the others don't develop as fast or run out of budget cap. And in the meantime, we'll start doing next year's car. And
it might be a little bit different next year because they will actually, with the new sponsor, will actually have the money to be at the top end of the budget cap. So, yeah, I don't know. It's they definitely have good people working on the cars. Most of them are ex-Ferrari engineers. They have 3, 4 like little places where they work. They have a place in Maranello. They don't really have, but they do work in the beginning of the year in the Dallara headquarters. They have the team is in the UK, where they build
just
cars.
up the road.
Just up the road from you. And then marketing and the rest of the structure is in the United States. But it kind of, hearing Gunther Steiner talking about it, it kind of made sense in a way, the way they were doing stuff.
Yeah, they, like I say, they've obviously got their philosophy that is what they think is best for them. So,
yeah,
and it so far it's been an improvement over last year, so it's working. Now we wait and see how it moves next season.
Yeah.
If they keep slowly moving up the grid, if they move up another spot or two next year, whatever they're doing is working.
Yeah, it worked this year, and they in the last part of the season they got a podium. I know it was a freak thing, but you have to be there to get it. If you're not there,
it counts.
Yeah, that's all that counts. They were in Q3, and they were good on that. To firing up their tires, and they could get away with a point in the sprint race. They were basically, Magnussen was crashed out of the race in the main Grand Prix by Ricciardo. So yeah,
they've still got more pole positions than Hamilton this year. I love that stat.
Yeah,
I love that stat.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the first year that Hamilton doesn't have a win. Yeah, but we're going to talk about Mercedes next week. Yeah, next week we'll talk about them. But yeah, but it was kind of nice to have the first Danish pole position and the first American team pole position for a long time, like 40 years. So yeah, they had a good season.
It was exciting. Obviously, you could see the fairy tale unfolding of, hold on, if this stays like this, Magnussen's got a pole. No, and you could see it building, and it was good.
You kind of ruined it for me. I was going to say a bad word. You kind of ruined it for me because you asked me if I had seen the qualifying yet. Yeah, I watched it after it happened because I was working, And when the red flag came and I saw Magnussen in P1, that's what he was referring to. So
I didn't. I didn't refer to anything. I just said, "Have you seen it?" I did no emojis. I did no spoilers.
I could hear your laugh in just those characters. I could almost hear your voice. But yeah. It was very nice, and see his face and the way he was happy when it actually happened. But yeah, Mick had a poor start of the season, and unfortunately for him, it was when the car was actually good.
Some monster crashes as well.
Yeah, some monster crashes.
There was a big chance.
Yeah, but he had a good fight with Verstappen with the damaged car in Silverstone. He gave Magnussen a hard time in the second half of the season for in qualifying. It's mainly where you can judge it. Comparing to teammates, he out-qualified him a few times. He was good on the races. Even in Brazil, he had a shocking qualifying, but then he was going forward in the race. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Mick fan. I wish that he would come good just because of the whole heritage thing in being a Schumacher and having the MSH overlay on the F1 overlays, but yeah,
he's been quick through the years, but he's also notoriously taken 2 or 3 years to win.
Yeah, and come good.
And he's same as F2. He didn't win all the races to win the championship. He almost won the championship without winning a race, sort of aspect. And I think F1 being as demanding as it is, I think he needed probably another season to get his head around it, and I think he would have then been a solid. Let's bring who's replacing it, but a solid Hulkenberg. He would have been a consistent midfield runner, and like what Magnussen is doing. On the days the car's good, he would have been up there, but the rest of the time he'd just be solid. And sadly, though, I don't think even with the name, you don't get that long in F1 to get into it and get your head around it. You've got to get on and be quick, go, otherwise you're gone.
Yeah, he needed a team like, let's say, Red Bull is doing with Tsunoda, giving him a third year when he probably didn't show enough to
deserve it.
But he isn't getting that. He's been linked with Mercedes for a third and test driver sit. Let's see. I don't know. It might not be. He's been hinting that his comeback might be closer than people think. I think at least he seems like to have a idea where he could come back in Formula 1. I would think that it would be a little bit in the far future. The only seat that I would think that it would be good for him would be at Audi when they come back. That would be, I think, very good for him. German driver, German team, but that's not going to happen for a long time. So I don't know. Do we think that he is going to be the second driver to Russell when Hamilton goes away? I don't know.
I mean, they would. Okay, it's semi-smart from Mercedes they need a reputable third driver who can come in and be with experience and be quick. So Mick has got a couple of years experience. Race experience, that is, and we don't know until we see him in example in Mercedes. We don't know how quick he really can be. compared to like Russell. I don't know. With Hamilton, they keep saying he's going to race until he's 45 or 50, and he's got years left in him. I don't know. I think another year or two like this, I don't know how long he'll hang around to finish 5th and 6th. He's got nothing to. If he's not got an opportunity of a title next year, I think he'll be gone.
Me as well. I don't think he will stand another 2022. To be honest, or I think just a little bit better than that.
I think if he got if he got number 8 a couple of years ago, I think he would have walked away then and there.
Yeah.
But he's so tantalisingly close to being the greatest, most winningest. It's one thing to be tied with Schumacher, it's another thing to have 8. That would be. I can understand why he's sort of holding on to that. But again, that's for next week.
Yeah, that's for next week, and we'll talk about Rossi next week.
So we got
It's kind of the same thing. But yeah, then in front of Haas, we have 2 teams with the same points. We have Aston Martin that came in 7th. They were kind of the opposite to Haas. They started pretty poorly, but then from the middle of the season until the end, they came kind of decent.
Yeah, they were. Obviously, everyone was expecting a lot with Vettel, and seeing what he could do in now in what was the black Mercedes or green Mercedes, but obviously with the changes to the floor and the rules, Mercedes were able to get their car up to speed quicker than, or develop it faster than Aston. Stroll's, I'm going to put another Latifi caveat on Stroll. He's another one. He's had some good results. He's there, but would he be in that car if it wasn't for the fact of money?
Probably not.
Exactly. We all know he's doing a good job. At the end of the day, he's still driving the car, so fair play. But he is only there because it's his team. End of story.
Yeah, so, I think so as well. Yeah, I'm going to be completely upfront with this. I think that he's a decent midfield driver. Decent. But with the prospects that team has, I don't think it fits there. And if it wasn't for his father owning the team, I don't think it would be there. So, yeah.
No. And you have to look at it as how long is Lawrence going to go? Yeah, you can keep playing driver before he goes, oh, hold on, I can get Lando and put him in the car next to Alonso. Example. How long is it going to be before he goes, right, I need the team to make money for me now and not just spend? Because at the end of the day, he's a board. And the board are eventually going to turn around and go, look, mate, we're supposed to be making money here. That's why we invest in these things. And we're not.
Let's just put it like this. If next year Alonso goes there and is getting points every race or something like that, and Stroll is nowhere near him, I think that's going to work very against him, even with his father being the owner of the team. I don't know. I've been apologizing too much over the years for Stroll, and
no, he's again. That's what I say. We'll call it the Latifi caveat. He's quick on he has his moments. Turkey, he's been on pole and he's led race, so he's in the right conditions when everything is optimal. He can put a lap in. But we look through the rest of his career, he's won the odd race here that he's nothing special. and we know he's doing it.
F3 champion, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're getting into the realm of the more testing you can do and example stuff like that, the better you are. And I know when he was at Williams, his dad set up a complete test team that ran out of Williams for him to do, and he did more Ks in the season than the drivers that raced the season did.
I know, and I've heard a story, and the person didn't mention Stroll's name, but he was talking about, early on in the interview, it talked about Stroll, and that not exactly like that he was at Williams, but saying that he was that he had many tests and help. And then later in the interview, he basically said that he was once basically they hired him to go around the track with another driver and teach him how to drive basically the cars that they were driving. So I kind of sum 1 and 1 and came up with 2, and that was António Felix Acosta. That he said that in a big podcast, very separate, one thing from another. But I kind of thought, yeah, maybe I can see that happening.
If I remember correctly, it was the year before he raced for Williams. Basically, his old man just went, there you go, need the laps, and obviously test teams are banned now, but they set up one of the garages as a full team dedicated to nothing but him, and he just went and did laps, just drove and drove and drove.
Yeah.
So by the time he got to F1 as a rookie, he had more than last season's Ks on his body, on his mind, and his driving, and that's how you could be F3 champion, where everyone else is going, we're spending €1.5 million or 2 million euros to do a season of F3, and he's spending that 2 million euros, same as them, and then another 2 million to do another season's worth of testing behind the scenes. Of course, you're going to be better. Yeah, no different to sim racing. If you can do half an hour's practice,
a little bit of talent to be able to get there. It's not like you're going to pick anyone and you give them that amount of driving. It's going to win a
minimal talent. You've got to have some talent, but we're not talking a lot.
Okay. I'm talking about just.
I've known lots of people who aren't very quick, aren't very good, but given the right driver coach and enough laps, are on not lap record pace, but on pole position pace.
Okay.
It's the phrase cash to crash. A lot of the reasons why people are slow or struggle to progress in careers in motorsport is when your sponsor, be that your father, be that your whoever, a sponsor, Petrobras or whatever, they come to you and go, you've got no money left, you can't afford to crash.
Yeah.
That changes your driving style, your mentality. It's like you're on 12x and 13 gets you a drive-through. You change your driving style.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like it's it, but yeah, you do change. And if you can do 1,000 kilometers of testing when everyone else is doing 200, it's going to be advantageous to you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm not saying it isn't, but yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Either way, it seems to be getting or becoming good for Aston because they made changes to the car in the middle of the season. We're now seeing that wave of staff that they brought in from other top teams starting to work on the car. And it's clearly made a difference to the car, because when they brought the big upgrade package in the middle of the season, the car started to be even, let's say, decent. It's not a race winning car by any stretch of the imagination, but it kind of gives us a little bit of hope that next year can be even a step up from what it has been in the previous years.
Yeah, they definitely improved. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they can pull out
next year.
Yeah.
They have the money to spend, and they've been on the cusp. They were even fined in the cost cap thing.
Thing is, they're going to have to spend it to keep Alonso happy. We know how tough he is on teams.
Yeah. I'm not sure that Alonso was the best move for them, to be honest. I'm not 100% too sure.
Agree.
I think he's going to come and he's going to make a fool out of Lance. He's going to be very angry that the car is not where he wants it to be. He's going to create enemies in the team, and he's going to go away, and you're left with no top driver. They have to go and pick another one up, and they're going to have one driver with no confidence at all, and a broken up team. I think that might happen, might not happen, but I think that's what's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, I can believe that.
But let's see.
If you look at his history.
Yeah. He doesn't have a very good track record on that front, let's be honest.
Nope.
So, yeah, the next team with the same points is Alfa Romeo. It was a bit disappointing. They have good people there, and the car promised a lot.
Started off well again, didn't they?
Sorry?
They started off well again, didn't they?
Yeah, it started well, and the car was nice. It just seemed that they weren't able to take advantage of the car that they had in the beginning of the year, and weren't able to bring much more out of the car in the latter part of the season. They kind of stayed there and didn't go forward with the car. Yeah, it was not that disappointment of Haas in the end of the season, or they could have done an AlphaTauri and be nowhere. They were more to the front than they were last year, so that's a good thing. But I think they had a better car than the results that they were able to get, let's say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think because we are now talking about the last team that we're going to talk about today, and Alfa Romeo is P6, and the next team has basically triple the points that Alfa Romeo has ended up.
Yeah.
I think Alfa had an opportunity to be basically nowhere in the points, so far away from P7 and far away from P5. They had a car for that, and they were stuck in being with the same points as Aston in P7. So yeah, it was one of those. They have two good drivers. Guan Yu Zhou, he impressed me a lot. Points in the first race, good race. He had good races. He was not, let's say, he was not that far away from Valtteri. He was kind of almost there. It just turned out that Valtteri was P9, P10, and he was like P11 or P12 most of the times.
Yeah. He was a solid number 2, which is what they've employed him as.
Yeah, solid number 2 with money, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the thing. If we think that Stroll and Latifi have money, no, that's why his family have proper amounts of money.
Yeah.
But he has the talent to back it up. But I put him. I didn't even think much of him before the season started, but he convinced me. He seems to have a genuine talent for driving a Formula One car. He's not a top talent, but
he was a top boy in F2.
Yeah,
he's front runner there, and again, that's one of those categories that doesn't let you hide, does it?
Yeah,
you've got to be good to be a podium person there. So no, he sort of did what I expected.
Yeah,
he maybe a couple of results a little bit higher than I would have thought he would have got over the course of a season, but he's sort of, in a boring way, he's come in and done what I sort of expected him in that car and in that team to just be a good, consistent runner, and for what he's done.
Yeah, and I actually think that his points don't show the work that he has done this season, just because he was basically always just about to get points. It seemed to be always in P11 and P12. But yeah, you end up with a car that is not really supposed to be like P6 or P7, and he needed a car that it's like in that vein, so that Valtteri was always there and he being 1 or 2 places behind him to keep racking up the points. But it turned out that they couldn't get, like we said, they couldn't get what they needed from the car, and he was always on the cusp of getting points, but he didn't get those points. But yeah, I was impressed. Very nice season. He's the first Chinese driver to get F1 points. He did it in Bahrain in the first race that he could. So yeah, I impressed, and I am happy that he resigned and he's going to stay in Formula One.
Yeah.
Let's see if he will have space in Alfa Romeo for much time. We don't know what's going to happen with Audi buying the Sauber team. Let's be honest, that's Sauber. That's not Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo just brings up some money for the team to call itself that. But when that ends and it's Audi, I'm not too sure he will have space there. Let's see what's the options.
He'll have to have a stellar season. He'll have to really step his game up and consistently beat Valtteri and be the number one. If Audi are ever going to contemplate keeping him on there.
Yeah.
I'm sure Audi already know who they're putting in that car the first year, but it's just a case of waiting till they get there.
We have a question mark here. Alpha are going to stop sponsoring the team next year, so in the end of 2023. For 2024, I have no clue what they're going to do, because they will still have 2 years with a Ferrari engine, but it's basically a Audi-owned team. And we still don't know what they want to do with that, in that sense, because it isn't very good marketing to call a team Audi and pretend it's Audi engine when it's not.
Powered by Ferrari, yeah.
I'm not sure that's going to.
No, they'll.
It's going to be Sauber, probably.
There's a long time. It'll be Sauber Ferrari or probably something in that vein.
They might do a McLaren that it's a McLaren Mercedes, but they don't call it McLaren Mercedes, or they didn't call it last year. It was in the F1 website it appears as McLaren Mercedes, but I don't know if that's just automatic for them to put the engine manufacturer in front, because I seem to remember that the team name is just McLaren, or I don't know what's their main sponsor, V something. That's basically tobacco team, the tobacco sponsor. That it's not tobacco sponsor, but everyone knows it's tobacco sponsor. Yeah, it's weird. Sponsorship in F1, it's weird right now.
Yeah, crazy.
It's full of tobacco that's not tobacco. It's vaping or whatever the hell it's. I don't know any of that stuff. And crypto. Sponsorship.
Yeah, there's a lot of crypto in there, isn't there?
Apart from Mercedes, that doesn't have anymore.
Yeah, no, that all went tits up, didn't it?
Yeah. I'm not going to talk that about the podcast, but I watched some documentaries about that, and it's crazy stuff. It's crazy childish stuff, and that gets Formula One and the Mercedes team. It's crazy. I laughed so hard. But yeah, it just seems that sponsorship is going. It's renewing in some ways, but it just seems to be renewing to a masked up old ways of sponsoring the cars, getting money for the cars.
Yeah, they're just finding the loopholes to go into the grey area and do it that way.
And mission win now, and pretending it's not Marlboro.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It even has the M, and it's supposed to pretend it's not Marlboro. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. A big green M on the car.
But it achieves the remit of the rules, and it passes the rules. So
yeah, it's let's see how the landscape will go from here in the Sauber team and all that stuff. But yeah, that's the first half that we're going to talk about. Next week we're going to talk about the top 5 teams, and yeah, that's going to be the most fun ones, I think, because we have 2 fights. Let's say that championship winners Red Bull didn't have. It's basically not a championship battle, but a non-championship battle. But the other 2 have been fun all year, and it's going to be a good subject. What we have to talk about as well is that the sim racing championship that we organized, the first sim racing championship that we organized, I'm going to take credit for something that you started and you conceived, but I will take all the credit just because I did the graphics for the results. So I take all the credits from that. So yeah, the first TWR championship in sim racing, it was in iRacing. It was the iSprint series, and we had the last round last Sunday, and it went well. The championship, I think it was a success, a first success.
Okay.
And we're very happy with that. And basically the standings, I don't like to say the standings of the LMP2 class because I won it. It seems bragging a little bit, but let's be honest, I did the Verstappen. I almost won by 100 points. I'm joking, but I won 2 races. But I won 2 races. Let me brag a little bit while I still can. So yeah, I won the LMP2 class, then Tiago Lage came in second, and in third place Brandon Ray. GT3 class was more interesting just because we had more people, and one of them came in the middle of the season and was still able to get a podium in the standings. So we had Nelson Simões in first place, João Coelho in second place, and Ricardo Machado in third place. So three Portuguese.
Johnny Rabbit.
Johnny Rabbit, yeah, he came in just in the... It was 4 races, and he came in the second race, and in the second race he basically crashed in the first corner, not even in the first lap, first corner, and he was able to then win the remaining 2 races and get P2 in the championship. So it was very strong championship for him. But who won was Nelson Simões, who didn't even win 1 race. He was just keep banging in the podiums and first and third places, and basically came out with the championship. But it was close. It was very close.
Consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. But yeah, it was a fun first championship, let's say, and very successful. We didn't have many, like the kinds of... Had a little bit of a big incident on Road America with the GT3s. I think it was the biggest thing that we got. But then it was just small stuff. We didn't have even 1 report. Which was good.
I think it was sensible racing all round, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone. There was a few incidents, but they were all
racing
dealt
incidents.
with at the time. Yeah.
This is not F1. We have racing incidents.
Yeah. Yeah. There wasn't even anyone who was a little bit aggrieved in the Discord.
No.
But didn't want to put. Yeah. I think
it was joking. Everyone joked.
I'm sure it won't be that easy every time.
No. When it gets serious, it will be a lot worse.
Chaos.
And yeah, let's take the time now to announce a little bit of the championship for next season. Let's talk about what we talked about exclusively with our members in the end of the race. Just a little bit. We're going to have 2 championships that we are basically saying that we're going to do. One in R Factor 2 and one in iRacing. The first one, it's a time attack championship. If you don't know how it works, it's basically it's basically like a rally, but on a circuit.
The hot lap.
Yeah, it's a hot lap.
Yeah.
And you're going to have 2 tries in race day. And the one that it's fastest, it's the one that counts for the standings. We're going to have 3 categories. The first 2 fastest is only 1 car that you can choose. You basically can choose. It's just choose the class. And the third one, you're going to have multiple cars. And it's going to be a qualifying for every round system. You're going to have an open server 2 weeks prior to the event, and the top 10 of each category get to go to the race, and the others don't, unfortunately. So we're going to have 30 cars in every race. It's going to be 4 rounds. That's basically agreed. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be January and February. We're going to reveal all of the details very soon because we want to start registrations. So we'll try next week. Let's see. I'm looking at your face to see your expression. If we'll be able
next
to do
week
it.
or the week after.
Or the week after, we're going to announce it. It's been a difficult couple of weeks for us, work-wise and family-wise. So, but yeah. Let's try. Let's push for it. Maybe in the end of the next week. Surely in the... Oh, I just remembered.
Where are you going?
No. Sorry. Just because I watched some videos today of Leslie... How did you pronounce it? I don't know. The American actor that had in the airplane. Nielsen, yeah, in the airplane. Surely you can't be serious. Yes, I am. Don't call me Shirley. That just came to my...
Good. We got Well, next week's rookie week in iRacing, so that means there won't be much driving in iRacing. So we can use that to push these championships through and get them released and out into the public, I think.
Yeah, so that we can open registration, so that we have the whole month of December to sort that out. The other championship that we're going to do, it's going to be in iRacing. It is going to be the iEndurance Championship, and it's going to almost follow the WEC Championship with the same tracks, apart from those that are not available in iRacing, which is Portimão, and the other one is it's Bahrain. And it's going to be the first season that we're going to do. It's going to be basically the start until the middle of the 2023 year, and it's going to be until Le Mans, and it's going to consist of 4-hour races. Apart from Le Mans, that it's going to be Le Mans is going to be a 24-hour full 24-hour race. The entire championship is going to be with live stewarding, and it's going to be with live broadcast. In Le Mans, we might not broadcast the full 24 hours with commentary. It's probably going to have a little bit of a break.
We'll do sessions.
Yeah, we'll do sessions. We'll do by parts. We'll divide it, and we might not have commentary in some of them. So we'll still figure out, because the two persons that are going to reliably being on the commentary, it's going to be just me and you. So full 24 hours with two persons, it's going to be very hard. And we
can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, we can try at least.
How much shit can we talk for 20? Well, we'll probably get 18 hours worth of 6 hours worth of proper content, and the rest will just be rambling
about
talking about Johnny Rabbit.
Yeah. I think we could actually do it, just banter between me and you. I think we could do it, and with the stories that you might have about endurance racing, because you have many stories about endurance racing, I would imagine.
Sadly, none at Le Mans.
Yes.
Or not on the full circuit.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of you driving at Le Mans, a race car at Le Mans. So yeah, we could. You could go there and drive the rest of the circuit in the road. It's public roads, most part of the year. So yeah, that's going to happen. It's going to be 3 classes. We'll have the hypercar class. We're basically certain that if it doesn't come out a new BMW LMDH next week, it will come out before Daytona 24-hour race. So it will probably come more than soon enough for us to do the championship. If for any reason it doesn't come out until March, we'll just do LMP1s, and then we'll do LMP2s, and GT3s are going to bypass the GTEs, because it's going to go out of service as soon as the BMW comes out. I think it's already announced that it's going to be. I think
they're stopping. iRacing is stopping using it, or ESS is going to be GT3 now. So
yeah, that it's the only place that they were getting used. So yeah, we're going to basically fast forward to GT3s and just keep like that. Yeah, we're going to probably start registrations in January or middle January, because we have a little bit more time, and we might do another sprint championship just to iron out. Even if it's not 4 rounds, we might do just a 2-round or something like that championship, just to iron out some of the details for the broadcasting. Yeah, and I will not take part, so anyone else can win the LMP2 class.
Oh, what you like?
The funniest thing is that I don't rate myself as a good driver, so that's even funnier. I'm not really bragging.
Doesn't say a lot for the others, does it? I'm talking to you, Tiago.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to happen next year. Please join our community. You have a link in the show notes and on the YouTube video and on the show notes for the podcast. We're going to do a fun event for Christmas just to wrap up the year. We're still thinking about the details. It's going to be something crazy like trucks at a road course with no disqualifications. I'm going to be driving with one of my hands in my mouse so that I keep undisqualifying and unblack flagging people, probably. So yeah, I'll be driving the truck with one hand on the mouse and one hand on the wheel, and there must be some way of doing it so that we have to talk to Evo about that. There's a way to do it with the tools that we saw.
Yeah, there must be a way. Well, I know on those you can clear penalties and that it'll involve someone, but there must be a way of turning it off. DQs.
I don't know. We have to search that.
I did. I tested it. I tested it tonight in test mode. So it's just got to work out once we turn off penalties and slowdowns. That's the only thing.
Yeah, you have to see that about that. Slowdowns is just go, and then when if the black flag is cleared once it comes, slowdowns are meaningless because that's the only thing that it does. A slowdown is give you a black flag. So yeah, we're going to do that. So join our community. It's very good banter and very good memes and very good championships and news, F1 news and all that stuff. We have a few shows planned for the off season. I already confirmed a guest, a very nice guest. Ooh, you know who he is. Is a person that is starting in sim racing and is now doing real life racing, and he has a big sponsor now in sim racing. He's in Europe right now. He's in Germany right now because a certain Logitech company they basically gave him a flight ticket from Canada to here. And he's in Germany doing sponsorship stuff for them. So yeah, his career is taking off. He won a sim racing race against all of the top media people, sim racing media people, and Lando Norris. He won a race with Lando Norris in it. So yeah, I think he's going to be a very good, and he's a streamer, so he will be a good guest that can talk even more than us, and we talk way too much.
A long one that will.
Yeah, and if he has the time for it, we'll do a English and a Portuguese podcast with him because he actually speaks Portuguese. So I'm narrowing the.
Narrowing the pool.
The pool, yeah. The tips for you guys to know who it is. But yeah, it was nice chat. We're going to continue the season review next week. I thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to us. Follow us at Bump Draft Prey in every social media app that you can find. bdappodcast@gmail.com is our email if you need to speak with us, anything like that. I've been Pedro Barbosa. With me, I've had my good friend Earl Goddard. You can find him at Earl Goddard at Twitter. Thank you for listening and being here with us and keeping us company. And we'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.
Bye. Bump, Draft and Pray is an independent podcast, and the music was by Letting Punks Know.